Any bankers here?
Thank you very much, Mr. But let's start first of all with this identity issue about civil society versus government. Issa Remu, my comrade. Okay? No, wait. No. Let's go back. Let's go back because we didn't just appear as government officials, right? Issa Remu and myself were part of every demonstration and every riot when we were in the university together. Okay? Because we were in the students' union. After that, Femi Falana and myself were in the Progressive Advance Movement. I was on the Kudrat Initiative for Nigerian Democracy. We fought the military. We were victims of Decree 2. So I'm part of civil society. Now, so this idea that there's a civil society outside government and that there are certain human beings who have sacrificed for Nigeria and those in government are working for exploitation. Let us first get that out of the way. Okay. Now let's talk about ideology. What is the ideology around subsidies? The issue around petroleum subsidy is not an ideological issue. Ideologically, everybody who knows development knows that you need to subsidize some things. The question is, do you subsidize consumption or do you subsidize production? Do you subsidize the poor or do you subsidize middlemen and rent seekers? Okay. And we have shown in the last few months that you can move from one form of subsidy to another. I'll give you a few examples, even with the central bank. In 2009, when we had an economic crisis, small and medium enterprises were folding up because they could not bear the high rate of interest and because banks were not giving them loans. In the central bank, we put up a fund, 200 billion naira, to refinance loans to SMEs, give them money for 10 to 15 years at a maximum rate of interest of 7%. 4,000 companies benefited, over 12,000 jobs were saved, production capacity improved about 12-15%, and that is subsidy. We've spent years importing fertilizers. Okay, half of those fertilizer bags were sand. 50 kilogram bags actually weigh 35. Only 11% of farmers were getting the subsidized fertilizer. The subsidy is still there. We have changed how it is done. We now make sure that the subsidy goes to the farmer, not to the middleman. We had a company in Port Harcourt set up to produce fertilizer locally, Notori. It was indebted to banks. Over 30 years, it was about to close down. Couldn't pay interest, it could not compete to subsidize fertilizer. We provided financing of the form we gave SMEs, refinanced the loan of Notori. Today, Notori is producing at 90% and creating jobs in Nigeria. So let us look at the ideology, and this is where labor should look. If you subsidize consumption of imported products, what you are doing is creating production facilities, keeping them open abroad, creating jobs abroad, and labor ideologically, we talk about ideology, labor should be in the forefront of stopping those subsidies and subsidizing domestic production. Don't subsidize the importation of petroleum products. Subsidize those who want to set up refineries. Give them power. So this is the first ideological issue. It's not about economics ideology. Okay. Now, what is the nature? I have been a strong proponent of the removal of subsidy, and for that I have been chastised by my colleagues in the civil society as an ideological turncoat. Now let's talk about why I got first of all involved with subsidies. 2009. We looked at the books of banks that were going under. We found that our banks had lost their capital. The banks were about to collapse. And there were two sectors of this economy that led to the collapse of the banking system. The first was the capital market, banks taking money and speculating on stocks. The second was petroleum marketing. Count the number of human beings that were unknown that in 10 years have become multi-billionaires from being in petroleum marketing. I published the names, for the first time, I published the names of all the bad loans in the banks. Half of them were petroleum marketers. The money had been taken, LCs had been established, subsidies had been paid, the money was not paid back to the banks. Why? My suspicion is that a significant part of those products never got into this country. Because if they came in, they would have turned to cash, and that cash would have serviced the debt. So where did the money go? Now let's go back to simple economics. All of you that read economics, EC 101, I taught micro in university. Whenever you fix a price below equilibrium, what happens? You have a black market. If you subsidize that, you have what is called rent. Because this thing we call subsidy is not subsidy, it is rent. And I'll explain. You have a product that should sell for 140 naira in this country. The government, and you know this is one of the most stupid forms of subsidy you can ever find. Because a subsidy is you say, okay, I will pay 20% of the cost, or 30% of, that is what you call a subsidy. When you tell people whatever the cost of petroleum products, you will not pay more than 65. It is not subsidy, it is a guaranteed maximum price. Whether oil is $200 a barrel, or $150 a barrel, or $100 a barrel, the government has an unlimited capacity for absorbing the difference. It is not at an exchange rate. We moved from an exchange rate of 118 in 2007 to an exchange rate of 160 today. That exchange rate differential is translated into the cost of petroleum products. The government absorbs it. You import, you have inefficiency in the port, you have demurrage. This is the only country where the government guarantees that you pay you with the demurrage. You come and claim that your boat was there for 1 month because you could not offload. The government pays you. It's a business in which any idiot can make money. So let us talk. So what is this? So who are we subsidizing? Who are the people that have benefited from this? Now Ngozi has said, and we all know, we can deceive ourselves. We can deceive ourselves, but we all know. I come from Kano. You go to Kano City, yes, in all these PPMC stations you buy petrol for 65. Drive out of Kano and start heading out to Kudu, it becomes 80 naira, 100 naira, 100. Many of the people in this room don't even know how much is paid for fuel. We work for companies and for government, and we just enter our cars. We just enter our cars. We can't remember the last time we went to a petrol station and took out money from our pockets to buy petrol. There is a myth. You buy 65 in Lagos, go out. The poor people that live outside Lagos, these are the poor people that Labour is protecting. How much do they actually pay? They don't pay 65 naira. Meanwhile, if I were in the business of petroleum importation and I established an LC to import 20,000 metric tons and the government gives me back the guaranteed payback, anything I make over 65 naira is a wolf. Okay? Now let's go back again to economics and to arbitrage opportunities. Why is it that in the subsidized environment of Saudi Arabia you don't have smuggling? Because Saudi Arabia is surrounded by Kuwait and Bahrain and Yemen and Qatar, and in that entire territory everything is subsidized. There is no arbitrage opportunity. You cannot take fuel from Saudi Arabia and make a profit by smuggling to Bahrain. Here we say we are selling at 65 naira in Cameroon, in Niger, in Chad, in Benin. All over West Africa it is for 140 naira. It does not take rocket science for me to know that if I can import into Nigeria, get this subsidy, I have a margin of 80 naira, enough to bribe everybody from here to the border and across.
Exactly.